Do you know what is the biggest question every single software developer asks himself? It's, does my manager knows what I'm actually doing? So if this is an interesting question for you, let's move on to the next part of the material. Of course, understanding what the team is doing is crucial part of every single manager's work, right? But in this case, I wanted to touch a little bit of a topic related to if engineering manager should do at least a little of the actual work. So in this case, my question is if engineering manager should code. And before I will answer that question, of course, let's go through some thoughts that I've got. So, as you may know, nowadays, IT industry changed a little bit. Because of the high interest rates, investments in new projects and R&D are much lower. Also because of that, in many cases, in many organizations, the management structure has flattened out. So it's a trend related to changing a little bit of responsibilities of the line managers or engineering managers. So in many cases, companies start to think that managers should also do a little bit of a actual work. Because before that, there was a trend to have a managers that will only take care of those, as they tend to say, soft parts of the management, so development of people, knowledge about the project, performance and other stuff like that. But currently, because of the financial situation, companies are changing a little bit their direction. So basically, what is happening, and we are seeing that as a emerging trend, is that line managers are just basically starting to code a little or do some architectural kind of work, depending on their experience. And now I would like to tell you how do I see that. So, let's start answering the question, should engineering manager code? I would say that engineering manager that is doing a little bit of actual work within project might be really great asset to the company, because it's much easier to see whether your team is doing good or bad in a situation that you are also involved into some kind of work. First of all, you will know your project much better. And because of that, you will understand what kind of difficulties and what kind of challenges your team is facing. So let's imagine that team is creating a software for a couple of years straight. For instance, 5. It's pretty long time. And over that time, though, there were certain decisions, both business and technical, and because of that, software emerged in a way that it's not very easy anymore to maintain. If you will be touching that code from time to time, it will give you much more understanding of what is going on over there, which might be very beneficial. Or you joined a team who was developing some kind of software for several years and now you need to get up to speed. For you, it will be eye-opening to see what kind of things are in the code, and it will be much easier for you to understand what is going on. So that's first thing. Second thing is related to how the team sees you. So basically, if you know at least a little bit about coding, they've got much more respect and basically they can follow your lead. Of course, you should take care and you should be aware that in many cases that's their decision in terms of how they want to make things. But if you are also putting a little bit of your experience and knowledge into what they are doing on a daily basis, you can really achieve better results. If you know what is going on over there and you had experience with such a code in the past, for instance, it would be very beneficial for you to add something to the way team is working. So it's not only processes, but also a little bit of a coding. As you may suspect, my opinion is that engineering manager should code. But if you've got different opinion, please go to the comment section and tell me a little bit about your experience. And moving on, I think that engineering manager should code because this gives that particular person a little bit more of a possibility in terms of what this person knows about the project. Then it also gives a little bit better perspective in terms of understanding how team members are performing. There can be various of different things happening in the software. So because of that, performance of the team can vary. If you know that better, it's easier for you to understand what is happening, right? Another thing is, if you are building a strategy for the software, it's not only about aligning business needs, it's also about aligning their decision to achieve those business needs, right? So if you understand what is going on under the hood of particular software that you're working on, it's easier for you to make better decisions in terms of direction. Also, being involved into coding gives you back your ability to solve problems, because when you are just a manager and you don't actually spend time on solving problems, you just lose it. It's like with muscles. When you are not working out, they are just disappearing. Similarly with your brain, when you are not using certain parts of it, you can lose it, right? So in this case, problem solving is really cool for you to be even more creative. And of course, many people can disagree with me. They would say that no, managers should only focus on managing people. Yeah, of course, this is something that I totally understand, but if you are aware that you shouldn't be the smartest person in the room, so you shouldn't be the most experienced developer or the best developer in your team anymore, right? You can do some small things like bug fixing, maybe creating some small components, maybe some migrations into the database, things like that. You won't be able to do big things anymore, but I really recommend you to go and do some actual coding. It will change your perspective dramatically. For instance, I tend to code more or less 20% of my time. Of course, one week I've got so many meetings and so many other things that I barely code, but in another weeks I can code even up to 50% of my time. I also tend to hop into code in some more stressful situations. So when there is a deadline, I always believe that hopping in and helping team, it's better than just sitting and pointing out that, hey, you should do this and you should do that. Because at that time, when the situation is pretty stressful, it's easy to just point your finger and tell others what to do. But it doesn't help them. So you can help by making your hands dirty, right? So just go there and code a little. I really recommend you doing so. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much for being with me. And one more time, if you've got any objections or your point of view on that topic, please go into the comment section and tell me about it. And see you in the next material.